sit back down. Okay. So for the rest of the night is going to be entertainment, and then food, or food and entertainment, whichever you guys want, because I'm sure you guys are really hungry. So, but first, I'm going to bore you guys to death about our MSA. So, you ready? So, this event was made or hosted by HCC's MSA, the Muslim Student Association, where Aisha Alak, Sister Aisha Alak, is our president. Saad Javid is our vice president. He couldn't make it. Then we have Zainab Faizan, also in the back. Blue Julbab is our secretary. Saleh Hadi is our treasurer. And my name is Haja. I'm the public relations rep. So I talk to people. So basically, like I'm talking to you right now. So basically, our goal for this semester at each meeting is to inform the youth here on how to perfect your character, or how to get close to bettering your character. So every meeting, Mondays, 1 to 2, DH 307 for the students here, we have a different topic. Like last week we had good company and how that can better your character. The week before that we had a conversation of hope versus fear and the balance that you need to have for both to be a really good Muslim. So every week we have different topics to help better your character. So inshallah, you guys will come to that, your students. Mondays, 1 to 2, DH 307 upstairs. So we'll have Naeem Baig come up, give spoken word.
I'm going to do 2 or 3 pieces, inshallah, depending on the time I have. This first one is called I Am. I am the future. I am resistance. In a world where we're taught to conform to the norm, I am the difference. In a world where we turn a blind eye to the downtrodden and disenfranchised, I am a witness. In a world where dogs eat dogs and go about their business, I am a vision of reversion to a version of life void of coercion, void of subjection, void of injustice being apparent yet going uncorrected, of a world where human contentions are settled by divine interventions, where our intentions don't need to be questioned, a world where we're equals, a world where we're brothers, a world where our goals revolve around the best interests of others, a life with a purpose greater than living, where the charity we give keeps on giving, where wrongs are followed by appeals for remission, where every aspect of life is characterized by one single word: submission. I am a mission. And I'm worth just as much as hollow speech unless substantialized by action. Empty, like the promises of puppets disguised as leaders that are subject to subjective factions. Unmoving, like the grueling effort of worn and torn treadless tires on a slippery slope, slaving for traction. Worthless unless expanded upon, unless demanding and strong, unless given the time, effort, and devotion required to mending these wrongs. I am progress, a process, inspiring nations, requiring patience, aimed toward the gratification of the Creator instead of His creation. I am a dream, straight out the depths of the corridors of morality, subconscious, a dream of piety in society, propriety instead of notoriety, grueling and time-consuming, initially theorized, but worth every sacrifice. Once I am realized, I am hope, that something lasting can be made of a life that's so short. Hope, our last resort. Hope, used to cope with and look past the sorrow. Believed in achieving a better tomorrow. I am reality, and it seems that we've been skipping out on our routine checks. The reality that we're essentially different breeds of the exact same race, running different speeds at the exact same pace, that in the end, every path leads to the exact same place. I am promised the essence of life. The pride parents see behind the cries of a newborn child's eyes, able to accomplish greatness, able to demolish hatred, proof that life is sacred, I'm potential. So write a new chapter in the books of humanity using the pen of action with the ink of morality potential. Shackled by chains of futility, restrained by locks of unease, trapped in a box with a key, worthless unless unlocked and set free. Potential, essential, central, and key to sowing the seeds of harvested ever-growing tree of future, whose roots bear the fruits of progress, innovation, destiny. I am youth. So you tell me, how much do you value all that you reap? So you tell me, how much do you value all that you reap?
Beer.
I don't need money.
I didn't introduce him, and I feel really bad. So this is Naeem Baig. He won first place in spoken poetry last year at DC Miss. Second place, I'm sorry. At DC Miss Spoken Word. Yay. Okay. So he's really good, mashallah, and I'm really sorry I didn't introduce him before. Naeem Baig.
All right. Okay, so this next piece is called Riddle Me This.
What?
Riddle Me This. It's called Riddle Me This. Riddle me this.
Riddle me this.
Riddle me this, like a question. Okay. Hey, am I like loud enough? Am I
Yes.
too
Yeah,
quiet?
you're good.
Okay. All right. Riddle me this. Why is the fate of the masses dictated by the whims of the few? Why do we rather conform in silence? Then speak out for truth. Why are we so quick to negotiate our beliefs in the name of being opportunistic when even in our coordinates with their ordinances we face so much resistance? Why do we let our brothers rot in cells for alleged crimes where the evidence is left unsifted? Why do we sell our souls to tyrants with the packages so nicely gifted? Why do we lose every single battle we encounter before any weapons are even lifted? Why? What do you expect when the oppressor's ideals are so deeply rooted in the hearts of the so-called opposition's children? Where Muslim kids grow up to love money and power because they're taught it's where they'll find satisfaction, where they mask truth with extremist labels and terrorist fables to serve the masses disastrous distractions, and in the minds of our youth lie the track of their deceitful actions. You see, psychological warfare doesn't hold up in court. So songs, movies, and TV shows of mass destruction is what they contort, resort to mental violence, and we respond with silence. Riddle me this. What does a child have to live for when he's made to think himself lowly? That holy was a new synonym for violent, and slowly he was made to sing the hymns of tyrants solely to uphold their whims in silence. Control me is what his brain screams. Where's the child to turn when his mother's roots are put in question, where the standards by which he lives his life are up for suggestions? What's a child to think when he's taught that an Arabic word which means struggle now means killing masses of innocent people along with himself, when last I checked, lowering one's gaze was a jihad in itself? Riddle me this. Why do we feel no shame in remaining constrained in these shackles that they put on our brains? And sure, it's easy to complain, but how often do we take the time out to explain our beliefs and try to change the mind frames of those who have the wrong image portrayed? How hard do we strive to vindicate the innocent and educate the ignorant? How proud are we to be that guy wearing the dress that makes us stand out from the rest, making us a little less the same? What am I wearing? I would love to explain. You see, I am a Muslim. And this is the traditional dress of the best of men who ever came. So I try to replicate him in every way. From the words that I say to the way that I behave. Hey, I might even give my first son his name. You see, he taught us to proclaim the truth without shame. Submit to the one God to whom I pray at least 5 times a day. Proclaim his greatness and his message convey through my speech, actions, and beliefs in hopes of relief on the judgment day. And if you would like to be dealt with in the best of ways, simply treat others the same. I know this isn't the image CNN portrays, and my name is a little hard to say, but here's my contact. Call me anytime, and I hope my attire has inspired you to change, because honestly, I am a weirdo, but that's okay, because my prophet also gave glad tidings to the strange. So peace, blessings, and the mercy of God be on you, and have an amazing day. Riddle this. When did the Muslims today become like birds stripped of flight? Broken wings on hearts that lost sight of the source of their might. When did we go from being slaves of Allah to slaves of this life? We've been suppressed and mentally oppressed for far too long. But correct me if I'm wrong, a bird with broken wings can still sing its song. Speak up, and the message of Islam will live on. Okay, this last piece is called Tug of War. Imagine waking up in the morning 5:30 as you are met by the eyes of that one person you despise the most as he smiles and says, rise and shine. Accustomed to his habitual daily ritual, I save myself the time, avoiding the lies disguised behind his iris and simply meeting him with closed eyelids, denying him the vaguest notion of regard, the slightest inkling of concern. Yet his tears begin trickling as he yearns for my help, yelps his all too familiar screech of desperation as he beseeches my support, pleads his pleas of agony, please, I need you. And it is in the sincerity of his voice that my soul leaves me no choice but to respond. I ignore the sensation of guile that pervades within me from my head to my toes and open an ear of sympathy all the while. My eyes remain closed. But please, by no means should you fear tenderheartedness for his plight. You see, he constructs the exact same sob story every solitary night and rehearses it until I wake. The poignancy of his contentions are backed by the buoyancy of his intentions. He's a master of duplicity. He lost his morality long ago and uses me simply for formality in his newfound publicity, in which he so happily basks and asks me to fulfill the task of serving as his mask. I cloak the blemishes of his faith as it wavers, and he returns the favor by stabbing me in the back. I conceal his zeal for extravagance and luxury with the pastoral array, hide the weeds that have grown on the seeds of his creed with the floral bouquet, all in order to maintain civilian oblivion to his moral decay. But today is the day I stop the charade. Today is the day I reign on his parade. From this point forward, I abscond from the bonds that make him so fond of my facade. I renounce any ounce of the illusion that causes the confusion that is his mirage. I will no longer be the gauze on his flaws. Why? Because his aimlessness is matched only by his shamelessness. Because he acknowledges his faults and still persists. Has the words of God embedded in his brain yet still resists. These words that provide the cure and answer to the cancer that is his apathy. These words that provide the urge to purge his soul of misdeeds. The surge to converge on his creed and diverge every adulterated part. These words that have yet to penetrate the calloused walls of his calloused heart. Instead, he falls prey to the devil's tactics and journeys through life tactless. His iconoclastic mentality has left me flabbergasted and utterly confounded. How can he neglect established ideals for ones that are unfounded? Behind the blinds of my eyelids are my eyes astounded as they question if Allah had blessed him to be born on Islam. But he had found it. Because anytime good comes one way, you find him going the opposite way. Representing the true teaching of Islam only on opposite day, and he claims to want to change the world, to start a movement, points the finger at the man on three, beg him for self-improvement, preaches abstinence yet finds himself indulgent in amusement, seeks inclusion into circles from which he once sought exclusion. What devices of delusion and confusion are we called? Humans. Yet as much as he loves to hate me, I hate to love him. My chastisement of him stems only from my desire to see him flourish and shine. I seek a panoramic panacea for a narrow-minded mind, for a hollow heart and shallow soul, hoping I can find a vessel of reform to weather his storm and hitchhike a ride to better his ways, alter his waves, and embrace a turning tide. But he flagrantly revels in his pride, a vagrant who takes the devil as his guide, and I stand disheveled on the side of his fast lane, holding the signs and cups of hope, begging for change, yet he remains adamant in his recalcitrance. He can't shake the glow of the limelight, reassuring me that he'll change when the time's right, and I find that he's beyond conceited. I feel that I've exhausted my every effort until all my energy is depleted, but they say if you can't beat them, join them. But Who do you join when you're self-defeated? You see, this morning, when the cycle of his cunning restarted, I decided to put an end to his nonchalance. Yet when I confronted him, it was stunning to find that I received no response. Enraged, I disengaged the restriction on my eyes and made myself a little clearer, and I wish I had. Because nothing could assuage the pain I felt when I found myself gazing into a mirror.